We influenced Zeppelin, and they're quite upfront about it. They cite us saying that we're the biggest fans of Small Faces, and they've taken some of our stuff. You know, You Need Loving and stuff like that. That is Zeppelin.
Well, a whole lot of love.
A whole lot of
it's
love.
Exactly like a...
Yeah, and don't forget, Jimmy Page used to play. He was a session musician, just started out, and I did a lot of sessions with him in those days, and he played on some Small Faces stuff, which is fantastic. We were in the studio together, always in IPC, and it was fantastic that he was not only a part of or entered our lives as a Small Face on recordings here and there, that he started a band and that was influenced him, which is the Small Faces, and so that's how you get that sound that Zeppelin got. You know, we did it first, yeah. When we split with Don Arden and Contemporary Records and Decca, we then ended up with Andrew Luke Oldham, who managed the Rolling Stones at that time, and the new label was fantastic. Immediate Records was like the Virgin of its day, and it felt so special for us not to be connected with the big giant record company. This was something a little bit more off the wall, and so the first thing that Andrew did is he knows that the only way that we want to work is or go forward and be creative is to give us studio time, and that's what we had, endless studio time, and that's where you got that's when we came together and experimented, and we were very fortunate as well to have Glyn Johns with us he was an engineer in those days, you know, and he was fantastic. I got the greatest drum sounds of all time from Glyn, and he was just amazing. So without Glyn we would have been lost, but we were very creative, you know, and we made a major breakthrough in our style and different things that were happening. We're always desperate to lose that teeny bop image, but anyway, we were destined to stay with it, I suppose. But I'm very proud of the albums we did on the immediate side as well. It has to be. But people say to me, which is your best track, you know, your best song? It's very difficult because there's so many great songs. I'd have a favourite every day or every other day, you know, a week, you know. But Ogden's is more of a standalone album. It's the first concept album of its type, and it was in a round cover, and it's very different, and kind of people didn't know what to think of it at first, and then they just heard it more and more and just loved it, you know, with Stanley Unwin in his gobbledygook voice sort of way. Yeah. When we went out to retailers, Ogden's, everyone was complaining about it because they put it on the shelf, and when they put it on the shelf it used to roll off because no one's shelves were straight in those days, so it would roll off. So somebody said, well, lay it flat and it won't roll off. And then it warped all the records, so you couldn't win. So
with modern technology we'll try and get around that one.
Well, no, it was back in a tin, one release way back, and that's what I thought. That's the nearest I thought we got to actually recreating the actual original album cover, because it was, as you know, the Ogden's Nut Gone Flake, the cover was based on a tin of tobacco called Ogden's Tobacco. We just put the nut gone in there because it made our nut go when we rolled our joints.